Hey everyone, I'm Levi with the Veritas 21 podcast,
And I'm the co-host, Ryan.
and we will be talking about college dating with my niece.
I'm Annalise.
And Annalise, can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm 21 years old. I go to Texas Christian University, and I'm in the Army ROTC program.
And why did we choose today to talk about college dating?
College dating is really hard, especially at 21 years old. Everyone wants something different, and it's kind of hard to navigate that at this point in your life.
Right. And what are some of your preferences?
When I'm looking for a serious relationship, I kind of lean more towards, politics, religion. Also, it's just hard because college is kind of about hookup culture, and I'm not really about all that.
Right. And would you say, like, right now, at this point in your college career, that you're even looking for somebody?
I like to think that I am, but I'm also so focused on school and ROTC that it's hard to be looking for a relationship. At this point, I'm kind of just waiting to graduate in a year and a half and just see what happens from there.
Right. And like, I can't even imagine. So I never went to college. So I can't even imagine being in college and trying to establish my career, establish my education, and trying to find somebody that I ultimately want to be with. Ryan, have you taken any college classes? Are you in college at all?
I have taken college classes. I just have not finished. I kind of took a break, and after taking that break, I just haven't gone back.
Right. And like, what are you wanting to do, Ryan?
I want to become a teacher.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna.
So right now you're like
in January.
you're a para at a school, correct?
Yep.
So that's good. You're getting some experience. Annalise, she's doing an awesome job in ROTC. It's been really awesome. Like I said, I'm her uncle, so I've been able to watch her grow and become a beautiful young adult. And so sitting around here, and we're all just going to kind of bounce around and talk about a few things. And to start, I want to share some statistics with you guys on dating. I think all three of us, as we were looking this up and we were talking about this episode prior to getting rolling on this, it was shocking to all of us. So here's some statistics for you. 40% of adults are on online dating. 52% of men use online dating, and 47% of women use online dating. 53% lie on their profile. That's shocking to me. I can't believe that 53% of people lie on their profile.
But
Okay, hold on.
Go ahead.
I think it's anything between how old you are, your hobbies and your interests. It's not necessarily just catfishing.
It's like little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like subtle lies. And think about this, that 53% are people that are admitting to it.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I would increase that by like 20% in my perspective, just because I'm a little bit pessimistic, that I would think like even more people are lying. But I'm like, why can't we authentically be ourselves?
I agree.
But some people, like, whenever they get on online dating, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but whenever they get on online dating, they can kind of like shape themselves like how they want to be. And maybe that's why they lie. I mean, I don't know what it's like in the mind of a person that wants to act fake online.
Right.
But there's at least, it says, how many percent?
53%.
53%.
But ultimately, if you're trying to find your actual match, why are you lying? Because
Right.
they're going to find everything out eventually.
Right. So why? Okay. So the next statistic,
People
and
like to manipulate
this was
people.
shocking, and I will add to this before I give this statistic, that I believe that there is a far higher percentage of men in regards to this. 33% of females are looking for a hookup. I would say, you could increase that by 30% for men. So, you put that at like 63% of men are looking for a hookup online. And why? I mean, I think that there's just a strong disconnection. Can you add to that, Annalise, where that disconnection may be within the dating culture?
Yeah, so I think that goes back to what I was talking about college just really being a hookup culture kind of place.
Right.
I think maybe it's just with our generation or just how times are now, everything's online, but nobody wants to settle down.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to find that person they're going to be with forever because I know being single is fun. Like, you can do whatever you want. You can
Right.
flirt. You can, whatever. But so I think that's where the hookup culture comes from, because you don't want to lose the fun of life. Finding your one true love is just as fun. So I think people need to get that certain mindset out of their head and cancel hookup culture.
Right. Ryan, did you have anything to add there?
All right, but at the same time, whenever you're just getting like out of a relationship or anything like that, you have all this fear instilled in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's one of the reasons why people just want hookups. They don't want like a relationship. They don't want to find anybody else at this time given. They just want to have fun for right now. And for some people, hooking up is fun.
I agree with that, but I feel like on a college campus, it's just kind of known to everyone that you're not going to find a boyfriend or girlfriend. You're just going to have a one-night stand, and that's it.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate to me.
And me.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunate to those of us that want something that's real, right?
Yeah.
Because here we are, we got such a high percentage. And then we also have standards on top of that. So so we got this high percentage of people that are looking for just simply a hookup. And then we're the type of people that are looking for somebody that holds the same values, the same morals as us. And I think that those things are very important for us to find when it comes to dating, is that we're all on the same page. Because when you're looking at dating, and I don't know, Annalise and Ryan, if you guys look at it this way, but when I date, I'm like dating to marry. I'm dating to find my forever. And I don't know that other people are looking for that. And it's an unfortunate part of our culture that it's like you can find happiness, and I'm going to quote that, you can find happiness in this dating culture, when in reality, how many people do you know that are in your circle that are either on antidepressants or will tell you that they're lonely or suffering from anxiety and searching for that significant other? I don't know, Annalise, Ryan, you guys want to bounce some things off of that?
And that's where communication in the relationship helps.
Yeah.
Because if you guys are communicating about like your feelings and everything like that, it's okay to talk about that. I feel like nowadays people don't feel like it's okay to communicate feelings.
Right.
And a lot of people feel very insecure about talking about their feelings.
I agree with that.
Where to the point where they just keep on hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you hide it, the more problems you're going to have within the relationship, because you will never fix those problems without communicating it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And going back to Levi saying that he's dating to marry, I don't know if I agree with that, just because I'm
Right.
21, I'm still young. I'm a junior in college. But I also feel like all of us are at that awkward age in life where most people just want to have fun, be single. They don't know what they're looking for. And a lot of people also want to date to marry. So, like, you're just at this awkward mid-20s age that no one knows what they really want.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what
true.
makes dating so hard.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. So here recently, I watched a TikTok video. I sent it to you. And it was a guy talking about how people nowadays, they date for tryouts.
Mm-hmm.
But what it's doing is we're dating to fail. And in the Bible, it talks about like divorce and everything like that, and how you don't want to go through a divorce. That's not right. But we're putting ourselves in that situation of dating nowadays to try to get
Practice
away.
to fail.
Yeah, exactly. Practicing to fail.
But also I feel like you almost have to date to fail just so you know what you're looking for and what you actually want.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. I mean, you can't date one person and decide, oh, this is who I want forever, because you don't know if that's actually what you want. You could just be falling into this love that you think is love, but you don't actually know because it's the only person you've ever been with.
And it can create red flags.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying there.
Mhm.
It's a learning experience,
It
and we all
is.
have to go through that.
And I feel like you almost have to fail in order to know what you want, so you don't fail in the future with your marriage.
Right. And
That's
like
a
you
really
said,
good
like
point.
I really liked what you said, that you're dating and it's establishing those standards that you have for that next person.
Exactly.
Because I know that I've been in multiple relationships where I'm like, ooh, I don't want that. I don't want that. None of that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's rough. That's and I think, knowing Annalise and knowing Ryan, I think that we can all say that we've been there. And I'm sure for the listeners that you've been there as well, that you're like, whoa, I don't want that. And it created baggage. And in our last episode, we actually talked about baggage, about how baggage plays this massive impact in our decision on finding that next person, and how we need to move on past baggage.
And especially after you get like out of a relationship, you have more time to think about like what all went wrong and everything like that.
Yep.
And that right there is a learning curve.
Yeah,
And
there's
like,
that realization, and then you're going to reflect on it.
mhm.
And then after your reflection, then you make a decision on how you want to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's all about self-reflection. Yep, I agree with that.
Exactly. And so like there's always this you know what, this is almost going to become a slogan for this whole series, Dating in the XYZ Generation. So like I said, like becoming the best version of yourself is probably one of the biggest things that we see in our culture right now. Like when you're going through something, somebody's like, hey, you know, just love yourself, just love yourself. But I'm going to ask Ryan and Annalise this real quick. What is the fall of man? Like what have we learned in our religious beliefs? What have we learned that is the fall of man?
What everybody says, money. That's what I see.
And what would you say it is, Annalise?
I would say lust.
You would say lust? Well, the Bible says pride. Pride. And so the more that we like dig into ourselves and we're like, I'm just going to love myself, I'm just going to be all about myself, the more that we start thinking that we're always right. And in a relationship, we're sitting here and we're talking about communication, right? And in communication, it's not about you. Look, I heard something perfect the other day, and it was this, that God gave you one mouth and two ears for a reason. You should be listening twice as much as you should be talking. Think
I
about
think a
that.
few people need to hear that.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Yeah, whenever I heard that the other day, it kind of messed with me too.
So I recently heard the other day that God blessed you with two things, okay? One, he blessed you with one mouth and two ears. Two ears. So that means that you should be listening more than you should be talking. And the more that you get involved in yourself, the more that you bring in that self-pride and like, hey, I did this and I overcame this and I did that and blah, 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 blah. You keep running down that road. How do you expect that you will ever find somebody that's meant for you when you can't even give up the other half of yourself? Because we know in marriage, in relationship, it is all about us giving up that half of ourselves. Two people coming together is never going to be a perfect situation. Two people coming together is very difficult. We each have different beliefs. We each have different styles of communication. We each have different morals and standards and ideas of how we want to raise our children. And how do we bring that together if the sole focus is yourself?
And
I
you-
agree with that. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
And you have to have those problems in the relationship to build and grow from it.
Right. Yeah, because those problems are like, whew, oh, I did wrong there. Like humility. If you're solely prideful, how will you ever be humble to say, hey, I did you wrong, I'm sorry, and like genuinely mean it?
I agree with you, but I also feel like you shouldn't lose the other half of yourself.
True.
Keep it tucked away somewhere nice, but don't lose it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And if we're talking about college dating here, people around like our age group and everything like that, whenever they get out of a relationship, they're ready to just move on. And this is, we talked about like just a hookup culture earlier, and how people think nowadays is after they get out of this relationship, I'm not saying everybody's like this, they're not, but a lot of people nowadays just, once they get out of a relationship, their way of moving on or coping is hooking up with multiple different people.
And what does
that's
that
what they
lead
find-
to?
It leads to even more heartbreak, honestly.
Exactly. Like you're throwing all of your emotions and baggage into a one night stand.
I mean, that's people's way of coping.
And see, I will never be able to comprehend that myself. I've never put myself in that position, but I know a lot of people that have,
Right.
and a lot of people have told me after they hooked up with somebody else after a relationship, it messed with them.
And yeah, I'm not going to sit here and sound like a saint. I've done it before. I have definitely done that before. And I will say, maybe it's just in my own personal standards. Because like you said, you don't want to lose that other half of yourself, right? So you still need to maintain your standards. You still need to maintain your beliefs, but don't get so engulfed in yourself that now you can do no wrong.
Well, and don't put you're all into somebody, and then when you guys break up or whatever, you all of a sudden can't find yourself anymore.
Right.
Don't rely so heavily on one person that's your entire world, that's your entire reason for
And
being
see,
alive.
that's my problem. I'm very codependent.
Right.
I'm a codependent person, like personally. And whenever I get into a relationship, like I'm with Levi here, I date to marry. And so I just see
Wait,
the
you
end
want to
in
date me
sight.
to marry?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm open to it, buddy.
But whenever I'm dating somebody, I want to date, and my end goal is to get married. I don't want to just waste my time. I don't want to just get into a relationship just to waste my time. I feel like I've been in enough relationships now that I've kind of learned what I want and what I don't want.
Right.
And I want to date to marry at this point, and I just don't want somebody to waste my time, and I would, just the same way, I would not want to waste their time.
Right. So let's move on with some more statistics. Okay. So 60% of females just simply want a match. Now, I don't know what you guys would think about this, but do you think that like everybody, like in a match, do you want conversation with that match, or do you want the validation because you matched with somebody?
So as part of the 60% that actually want a match, I think that it is a lot of conversation and a lot of open communication. I mean, I would rather someone that isn't really feeling me, like doesn't really want to talk, just be open about that. Just let me know. I'd much rather have that than closed communication. You're guessing what they're thinking. And I also think it really plays down to just personality and how it matches up with the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also hard to come by being online. You never really know someone when they're online.
Right, because you're not able to like see their facial expressions when you're talking to them.
And when we
their
go back
actual
to whatever 53% lie on their profile, they could be lying about everything in your conversation. You would never know.
And a lot of people, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but a lot of people on like Tinder, let's say, because we know from swiping on there, a lot of people will add photos of themselves on there that whenever you see them in person, they look 100% different.
They look great.
They're very photogenic, but
right.
in person, no.
Right. I think the name of it was Love Hard on
Netflix.
Not on YouTube, on Netflix. Yeah,
it was a good movie.
It was a fantastic movie, and it was about this female writer in LA, and she writes about her dating experiences online, and she meets this guy, which like applies so much to like who she is, I guess. And so she goes out to it. Hold on. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and pause. Go ahead and hit the pause button. Return back to this podcast. But after you watch it, yes, of course, after you watch it. Sorry, my ADD cannot follow that far into a conversation or into a statement. But so she goes out to New York and meets this guy. And come to find out, he isn't this like super attractive guy that he portrayed himself
totally
to be online.
Totally catfished her.
Totally catfished her. Because did you watch it?
Yeah.
Catfished her with looks, but his personality matched hers.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. He was 100% himself in his personality, but his pictures were different.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she shows up at the family Christmas. Randomly, just totally random. And like they're like, oh my gosh, like here's this beautiful brunette woman that just walked into their house and is like, wow, she's amazing for him, you know. And then he comes upstairs and like just the shock on his face when he realizes
because he knew he catfished her.
Yeah, exactly. He realized that she was catfished. And so then throughout the whole movie, basically, this guy is trying to hook her up with
the real guy.
Yeah. Because he used his childhood's best friend's pictures. Yeah. And so he knew everything about him. So now he feels bad. He's trying to hook her up. And there towards the end of the movie, he says one important thing. And I think like this is where we lose it in culture. He says, I mean, this part really hit me. He says that all of that was me. Everything I said, everything that I agreed with you on, all of our conversation, that was me. And I wasn't faking that. But the looks is what I was faking.
And I feel like that's the problem with online dating. Everyone gets so caught up in the looks.
Right.
I mean, are you going to swipe right on someone if you don't like how they look?
Right.
And like,
You know?
let's say you get married to this person. Yeah, they're like good looking whenever you guys are younger. Whenever
Yeah.
you guys grow up and get old, and like, let's say like the person gets wrinkly, the person gets fat, are you just gonna automatically say, "Hey, I'm leaving your ass"?
Yeah, I'm
no,
done.
you ain't.
I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. You know, we have lost that sense of let's get to know each other and try and build a substantial relationship that is productive not only in our own families currently, but also the families that we may have in the future.
Exactly.
You know, and why don't we find that anymore? Why is that so hard? And that's what this series, Dating in the XYZ Generation, is all about. It's not about Ryan, myself, or Annalise finding somebody. Okay?
I wish.
I mean, that would be fantastic.
That would be nice.
Because we're all single, so, you know, hit us up in our DMs.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. We are all single, and I'm glad that you brought that up. But we make this podcast to be relational with people. Like, we've been in relationships, but even though we're not part of relationships, it does not mean that we don't know what we're talking about.
Well,
I'm not saying that, like, we have any, like, college background of dating.
Yeah.
And we're all single, but we all also have different experiences and opinions on dating in the XYZ generation.
Right.
Like,
Right.
even though we all might be in the same boat now, we all have experienced different
And
things.
we do have different experiences and everything like that. And that's why we want different people on our podcasts.
Right.
We want people to feel free to message us or like
Yeah,
the page
reach
and
out,
tell
seriously.
us.
Maybe we should start a dating column.
A dating call?
That would be kind of fun.
That is a brilliant fucking idea,
Yes.
Annalise. I'm
Yes,
glad that
that's
you brought that up
great.
because
Yes,
that would be
fantastic.
good. That would be
Okay.
good. Okay, that deserved a clap. That deserved a clap.
And here's the other thing. If you can't tell, so we've all known each other for a very long time. Ryan's been one of my good friends for a really long time. And of course, I've known Annalise ever since she came out of the womb. So with that being said, there is like so much, I don't know, comfort in us three talking about this, even if we're behind mics and we got a camera on us or whatever. But this is authentic.
Like this is us, yeah.
I mean, we'd have these conversations any day of the week.
Exactly. Like there's so many times when, I mean, even sitting around the family the other night, you know, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, this would be a great podcast right now.
Well, and I can remember many times in my past relationships, Levi would openly tell me, I mean, Annalise, come on. Like,
Yeah.
come on, you can do a lot better than that.
Exactly. And I'm
Like,
not,
he's
and
I
always
remember
been
that.
he's always been extremely open and honest with me about how he felt because he cares so much and because we all know each other so well.
right. And I've been that way with Ryan too.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been very honest about it.
but I think that honesty is the number one thing that drives the strength from I mean, coming in a relationship. It's the number one thing that drives respect. If you're honest and you're trustworthy with what you say, then naturally you will be respected. And that's not the reason why I do it. I want what's best for everybody around me. You know, and that's the reason why this whole platform has been established. And I think that we've got a little bit off topic of the dating culture in college, but I think that this is like exactly where people are at is like, where are you? Where are you trying? What are you trying to find? Where do you want to be? Who do you see yourself becoming? Annalise, you know what? I don't even care if we're on topic at this point. I love this conversation so much. And I think that this is probably one of my favorite episodes so far.
It
like
definitely
really.
is mine.
Like it's so like I feel just so free to have this
Yeah.
conversation with you right now. And
You're very easy to talk to, Annalise.
Oh, I appreciate that, Ryan.
and my question to you would be, you know, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Honestly, I don't know because my mindset now tells me, come on, Annalise, like you're young. You don't have to rush in anything. You know, travel the world, do what you want to do. If you find someone along the way, cool, whatever. But the other part of me is like, all right, well, I kind of hope I have a family. I kind of hope, you know, I've achieved what I want to achieve. I have a family. I'm settled down. I don't really know, though.
Exactly. That's a better question. It's not where do you think you're going to be in 10 years? It's where do you want to be in 10 years?
Right. And I think that we're all trying to find that.
We
Ryan, where
really
do you
are.
want to be in 10 years?
Honestly, I want to be married. I want to have kids at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have kids too old because then I'm just going to get even more frustrated. And I just want to hopefully be a teacher by that point.
Right, right. Who is your hero?
Like just in general?
Just in general, who's your hero?
Somebody you look up to.
Who is the person that you look up to the most?
My Uncle Matt.
Your Uncle Matt? Dude, Matt is awesome.
He's pretty awesome.
He is. And not only his story, and we won't get into that, but his story is amazing. But on top of that, it's this his personality of being calm and being able to say, hey, you know what? Think about it this way.
Well, and just being authentically who he is.
Right.
He has no shame in that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I just look at him as someone who, you know, he had to figure out life at a young age, and he did it, and he went on to achieve so many things, and I really admire that about him. But it's also, he never took life too seriously.
Right.
He always wanted to have fun. He wanted to make memories.
Mm-hmm.
But he did what he had to do to get where he's at now, and he's very successful now. So it worked out.
And Ryan, who would be your hero?
Out of everybody in this world, it'd be my mom.
Really?
Aww.
Yeah, I'm a mama's boy.
It's okay. I am too. So there's no shame in that.
I mean, she's done a lot for me, and she's done a lot for my family. And
Absolutely, dude. She busts
she's
her
a
butt.
rock. Yeah, she busts her butt for us.
Yeah, she is a rock in your family. That's for sure. Now, this is going to sound conceited, okay? For me, it's who I am in 10 years. That's who my hero is.
That's a good answer.
That is a deep answer.
That's very
That's
deep.
not just a great answer. That is a deep answer. Expand on that.
Yeah, I wanna
Okay,
hear that.
so 10 years from now, my goal of who I am is I want to be the best man that I can possibly ever imagine becoming. And then once I reach that 10 years, guess what? My hero is going to be the person 10 years from then.
And if you have a kid, then
I want to be the best dad.
Looking,
You wanna be
exactly,
his-
and you'll
his
want
or
to
her
be
hero.
exactly. You'll want to be his
Exactly.
or her hero.
This is like recycling. You know, recycling the hero.
Yeah.
Like I'm not about myself. Like who I view myself in 10 years is this humble husband that honors and loves his wife, but is a active community member that is willing to stand up and say, hey, you know what? I see injustice here. I see a problem here. And not that I want to talk about the problem. I want to talk about the damn solution. I want to find the solution to the problems in our communities. I want to find relationship. I want people to understand that through all of our disconnection in the world right now, my goal is that people see that you are not alone and that relationship with other people can help you overcome and collaborate and find solutions. That's what I want. And so like if the person I am today, I'm ashamed of, okay, because there's some things that I'm not proud of that I've done.
Well,
like
that's
just
in
being
anybody's
real.
life.
Right.
Yeah.
But 10 years from now, I'm like, hey, I'm going to look back and I overcame that. And it's like Paul writes. Paul writes that perseverance builds character. And so my perseverance is continuing to sharpen me like a sword going through life. So, I mean, everybody has a hero, but I didn't realize that was my hero until just recently that, you know, me in 10 years.
That's a really good answer. It's really
That is
very
good,
profound.
dude. And wow, that's impressive to me.
Yeah. I can't
Wow.
think that deep.
Yeah, me either.
All right, so moving on, we wanted to talk about lust versus love because I think so often in the relationship realm, especially pertaining to college dating, we often find ourselves like, ooh, I love him. Or I love her, okay, from the guy perspective. I'm not just talking about women. But we often find ourselves like saying we love this person and they may not match those values. They may not match those morals that we expect.
Yeah, and I think it very ultimately comes down to what you were saying earlier, being open about anxiety or being lonely. And when people start feeling that way, you know, the first person that gives them attention or shows any interest, all of a sudden they're like, I think I want you to be my boyfriend or girlfriend. I think I want forever with you. But you have to step back and realize that could just be from being lonely. And that's okay that you feel that way, but you have to realize that's not love. You're falling into lust.
Gosh dang, Annalise, that's
That
phenomenal.
is a good quote. That's great, Annalise.
Yeah, how often do we? Yeah,
Wow.
my mind just blew out of my
That's two
skull
times
there.
that I've had to say.
That's
That was a
awesome,
great
Annalise.
quote.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Going back to also what Ryan was saying earlier about people just falling into the hookup culture after breaking up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, you still have that feeling of love and having someone there by your side all the time, that once you start hooking up with people, it's like, do I love you? Or am I doing this to get over my ex-boyfriend or girlfriend?
And
Yeah.
okay.
Because it's still having that companion by your side.
And in relationships, some people, not me, but a lot of people, whenever they're used to having sex so many times throughout like the week, month, whatever, with their with their spouse, with their significant other, they're so used to having that lust and everything like that they don't want to get rid of it. So whenever you get out of that relationship, they're searching for just that.
Exactly.
And
And
people, and to some people, it makes them feel better. What were you going to say, Annalise?
And that's where the lust comes in, though. Like what I was saying, you are so used to having that. So then you find that again after your heart is broken, and you're not even thinking about love at that point. You're thinking about, this is making me less lonely. This is this is healing my wounds. So this is
Boom.
what I want.
Yep.
Right.
That's great.
And I mean, I've definitely found myself there trying to cover up my pain with sex, and honestly, that sex.
Did it help you though? Did it help you? Did
Absolutely
it help you cope?
not.
Exactly. No.
But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I would much rather go into a relationship reserved from sex, because I think that the physical skews the want or the need that I have in a true partner. Like, I don't just want a sexual partner. I want somebody that can be my best friend.
So you don't want a friends with benefit, but a lot of people our age, that's all they're looking for, and they won't come forward with that.
Right.
Like
They won't
they'll
strictly
lead
just
you
tell you.
on,
Exactly.
make
they'll
you
lead
feel
on.
like they're giving you what you want. At the end of the day, that's not what they want. They just want to hook up.
Right.
Exactly. But they won't be straightforward about that,
No.
because if they're straightforward about that, they know
Then it
they're
makes them sound
manipulating
bad.
you. They're manipulating you.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. They make you feel like you're wanted, but ultimately in the grand scheme of things, they don't really want you.
Yeah. And I feel like ultimately what we've been talking about all night, that's what our generation, our age group comes down to. That's what it boils down to.
Right. Right. And so we are not experts.
Absolutely not.
No.
I haven't been on a date in 3 years.
No, doggy.
3 years. Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a few months for me. You know, it's cool. Okay, so talking about all these different subjects is a perfect example of what somebody in college is currently going through and trying to establish themselves in their future relationships. You know, what are my standards? Where do I want to be? Where do I see myself? How can I overcome and become a better person myself without being overly prideful? Who is your hero? Who do you see yourself in 10 years? And how can you become that person that you ultimately want to become? And then how can you find the person that is going to encourage you to become the best version of yourself? Do you guys have anything to add here?
I feel like even if you're not in college, I'm sure a lot of people could relate to this stuff that we've been talking about. But also take it with a grain of salt. We're not experts. But I think we're just talking about this to be relational, to know that everyone goes through this stuff.
Right.
And that's
You are
normal.
not alone.
It's normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are not alone.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Dating in the XYZ Generation. I hope that you guys found some things that you guys can really relate with and connect with us on. If you would, go ahead and leave an Apple review on Apple Podcasts. Hit the like and follow button on Spotify. And I will always ask for another guest because we enjoy having these conversations with anybody. So just go ahead, hit that follow and like button on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything that you've seen at the bottom of the video. Go ahead and do that. Thank you very much for your guys' support on the Veritas 21 podcast. You guys have a great rest of your week. And Ryan would like to say something.
And thank you, Annalise, for being on.
Of
with
course.
us.
It is my pleasure. I've had so much fun.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
We
you.
look
have
forward
enjoyed
to
you.
having you
Yep.
again.
Absolutely.
We seriously do.
Mhm.
Next time, it may not be in person. It will be on FaceTime more than likely
Yep.
because you'll be down in Texas,
Yep.
you know, studying your heart away, maybe just getting finished up with a ruck and a little bit sweaty, but just
Oh,
take
absolutely.
a shower before you
Hey,
get on.
No promises. No promises.
Hey.
Alrighty, you guys have a great rest of your week and God bless.